So Eddy Reynoso has finally came out and released a statement addressing all the fighters that have tested positive that are affiliated with his camp. And he said this, and I quote, "Starting now, I'll be working 100% with the team that I can supervise. I've let the boxers who have come to me to train have their own nutrition team, their own work team, quite independently of what the training entails. So what am I going to do from now on? Work 100% with the team that I can supervise and manage, not because the other boxers have had a bad team, but so that I have 100% control of the boxers I'm going to be training." He goes on to say, "Oscar Valdez is an impeccable young man. He's a very disciplined young man like few I've seen in boxing. This problem arose, it was resolved, and the fighter defended his title. Jaime Munguia is also a very disciplined fighter who had been having a great career, and this small detail comes up. Now what I'm going to do is get advice and get a good nutrition team that is more attached to VADA and that is closer to the people who manage VADA to try to do things better." This statement sounds good, but there's only one small, minute, minuscule problem. We don't believe you.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk, and we are back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. But before we do, y'all know what we do first. We go ahead and smack that like button. So let's do it together. Appreciate it. That didn't hurt, right? It helps us to keep going and growing on this thing we call YouTube. You know what I'm talking about? So let's get right to the news, man. You saw the intro. Eddy Reynoso released his statement, and I'm gonna be honest, man. Sometimes I'm a little cynical. Sometimes I like to be a little sarcastic. I have fun with it, right? But we always prioritize the facts, and we prioritize the facts over the feelings. And so, I think that Eddy Reynoso's statement, this is a good start. He's acknowledging the issue, and he's addressing the issue, and he's gave us a plan on how he's going to fix it. He proposed a plan, and he said, hey, this is a solution for this ongoing problem, this habitual problem, this consistent problem. This problem has stemmed back for a while now, a long years, almost a decade, right? With a lot of his fighters being affiliated with his No Boxing, No Life brand and testing positive, and I want to say this, the fact that he said this little detail came up when he was talking about Jaime Munguia, I don't like that. It's never a little detail. I don't care if you guys want to act like, a nanogram is small because you can't effectively comprehend, you can't effectively conceptualize, you can't effectively understand the significance of these metrics, right? Nanograms sound small, of course. A billionth of a gram sounds small, but that's the unit of measurement that they use to measure things like this, like PEDs. You tell me a PED that's not measured in nanograms per milliliter.
You dumbass.
Goofball. That doesn't mean that it's an insignificant amount. It means that it's small relative to what we think of things. But when you talk about milligrams, doesn't it sound smaller if I say 1,000th of a gram? But when's the last time you took an Advil that wasn't measured in milligrams? Right? So these things are measured this way because they're more potent and more effective. So it does mean something. So when I can't believe people are still really saying that, oh, a nanogram is small, it's insignificant. When Amir Khan popped dirty, it was measured in nanograms. And in fact, Ryan Garcia, when he popped dirty, he was 3 times as many nanograms as Amir Khan had in his system for the same ostarine substance. So it was not insignificant because we saw Amir Khan get suspended for 2 years in England, so long that he decided to retire as opposed to sit out his sentence. So when you're talking about these things are insignificant, it just shows me that you're ignorant and your mental capacity to think about things outside of your norm is insignificant. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we go. Let's get back to the topic at hand, man. I just think that I think that's a bad look to try to minimize it, because anytime you have PEDs in your system and it comes up as a positive test, that means that it was a significant amount to raise the alarm. That means it surpassed the allowable threshold or the allowable limit that should be in your system for a banned substance. So it is the opposite of little. It's the opposite of insignificant. It's colossal and it's significant. You see what I'm saying? It means something. That means it is enhancing whatever it is. That's why the banned substances are usually called performance enhancing drugs, because they're drugs that enhance your performance, meaning it makes you better in some capacity, and that should be illegal, And the thing about Eddy Reynoso, the issue is that, I understand he might be telling the truth. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he did let his fighters come in with their own nutrition team and come in with their own assistants or strengths coaches or whatever it is, be on their own diet, and he didn't manage it. But the problem I have is that negligence is not an excuse, right? It's not a justification. These fighters are under your supervision, whether you're the head trainer or you're working in the capacity of the team brand CEO or owner or whatever it is, or the overseer of your gosh dang gym. The manager of your gym, it's your gym. So the fighters, you are somewhat responsible for them, you know. And it's so funny because while these goofballs and these pundits and the boxing aficionados, when they were worried about things like no running rule and implementing a way to stop boxers from boxing, you know, like the Tom and Jerry rule, while you were worried about excluding boxers for boxing, I advocated that we exclude things like PEDs, things that don't belong in boxing, out of boxing. Isn't that funny? I was the first one to say this, and I got a lot of pushback, and they said I sounded crazy, right? I don't sound so crazy now.
I think it's just crazy, man. I feel like, you know, once you have 7 different fighters that come up positive in your camp.
Damn. I'm sorry.
You know, for performance enhancing drugs, I think somebody should take a look at that camp like, hey, what are they doing in there?
You know, David Benavidez has come out recently and agreed with me. He said that there needs to be a thorough investigation on the Eddy Reynoso camp. And I agree. In fact, he agrees with me because I said it first.
Yeah.
And you know what I said? I said that when a fighter pops dirty, yes, they should get the harsher punishment. You know, I think a minimum of 2 years, you know, especially when that B sample comes back positive again. I said they should get a minimum of 2 years. That's starting off, and then it could get steeper, depending on the quantity and the quality of the drug. I also said that in addition to that, not only the promoter, but also the trainer should be reprimanded as well, whether that comes off as a suspension of the trainer's license or the promoter has to offer a forfeiture of some money and maybe can't attend some fights or something like that, or maybe the trainer cannot be in the corner of his fighter for a couple fights. I don't know how that would look, but I think a punishment is appropriate because now we all act like a team, because they are part of his No Boxing, No Life brand, aka team.
Yeah.
So when you start to have a plethora of fighters affiliated with your team, then you should be held accountable when they pop dirty. So when you have Oscar Valdez, a Ryan Garcia, a Julio Cesar Martinez,
1 hour later,
a Jaime Munguia, a Saul Canelo Alvarez, a Luis Nery,
2 hours later,
Andy Ruiz. I mean, it depends on how far you want to go back, you know, because he had this incident with his ex-wife, you know, that was also with the No Life, No Boxing brand, you know, no Boxing, No Life brand, which is Eddy Reynoso. So, you know, when you have all these things adding up, it just looks very bad. And you do have to be held accountable no matter what capacity that they're working with you. They're working with you. Like I said, whether you're in the capacity of a head trainer or you're just the team manager or the gym supervisor, whatever it is, it's under your watch in some capacity. And you do have an influence on your fighters being clean, and which he kind of talked about in his letter, but at the same time simultaneously try to remove himself and say, oh, it's not my team. Yeah, sure. You know, so I think that this is a problem, and I think that, you know, I was one of the, I know I was one of the first ones that said that these fighters and their trainers and the promoters should be punished as well to mitigate this problem. Because when I say this, I'm saying that for the actual betterment of boxing, not just because I'm running a smear campaign on fighters I like, or running a smear campaigns on fighters I dislike and trying to celebrate the fighters I like no matter what they did, because this is a real boxing channel. This is not a boxing groupie page. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these channels, I say that they're boxing channels, they're just groupie pages of a particular boxer. I actually want to see the boxing sport improve its integrity and keep its sanctity and purity. And in addition to that, if we started punishing the boxers, in addition to the trainers, in addition to the team, in addition to the promoters, then this will not only improve boxing from a responsibility and accountability standpoint, but it'll also, you know, look out for the welfare of these fighters that are participating and putting their life in danger every time they punch each other in that squared circle, which we love. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we could do for the fighters, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I just think that, you know, all these fighters that are associated with Eddy Reynoso, you know, Saul Canelo Alvarez, that's one of my favorite fighters, AK Cinnamon. He is my favorite fighter right now. And, you know, I want to root for him, you know, and that's what I do, because I will say this too. Cinnamon is different. And the way I see it, you know, when he popped dirty for the clenbuterol, he took it to court. Not only did he stick to his story, he took it to court and he went through the judicial system, and they said, hey, man, Contamination is the reason why we found this substance in the system. Same thing for Alicia Bumgarner. So when she took it to court and proved that, oh, it was contamination, I don't look for conspiracies. I actually believe it because they stuck to their story and took it to court, and it was and went on their side. That not that they were innocent, not that it wasn't present in their system, but they didn't take it intentionally. You know, they didn't ingest it or consume it purposefully. You know, accidents do happen. But when you're other guys like Ryan Garcia, you know, who don't even take it to court and switch up their story 111 times, you know, or when you're guys like Oscar Valdez, or even guys like Conor Benn, you know, when you actually appeal it and you get denied, you see what I'm saying? Or you're like Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who doesn't even say anything about it in an official capacity at all. You know, that's different than actually going to court and proving that, hey man, I did it accidentally. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's good enough for me to forgive Cinnamon, and that's good enough for me to forgive Alicia Bumgarner, because in addition to that, they never tested positive the night of the fight. A lot of the aforementioned people, they cannot say the same, like Francisco Rodriguez Jr. and Jaime Munguia and Ryan Garcia, to name a few. You see what I'm saying? So there's a difference there. That's good enough for me. But if it's not good enough for you, hey, I understand, man. We all have different sentiments, you know, and different values and stuff like that. So I'm not mad at anybody who still considers him a full-blown cheater. And the fact that Canelo was on his team stemming all the way back then, it looks even worse. You know what I'm saying? So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I think that this is a start, but I don't think it's fully acceptable. I think that he has to do more. But I will commend Eddy Reynoso for saying that he's going to look more closely, and we'll just see as time progresses. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. Only time will tell, you know, if this is really going to be an effective plan that he implements or not. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Let me know, man. I'm interested to hear your opinions, and don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.